Good morning, everybody. Mike Barr here. It is Sunday, January 29th, 2023. And my topic for Safety Sunday today is deals with stop work authority. And it's a topic I've talked about before, but I think that at the state of where we're at in the industry, over the last week and a half, I think we've had a couple more fatalities, and currently we experience a SIF, or a serious injury or fatality, about every 11 days. I think it's somewhere around there. We are doing better than we have in the past. 15, 20 years ago, it was much worse. We're getting better. And as I've said before, I think that honestly, we really can, I think, eliminate most of the serious injuries and fatalities that are happening in our industry. It's going to take, of course, a combined effort, but I think we can do better. I think that from my perspective, all these things that are happening, as I try to look at each one and kind of analyze it, I've always felt throughout my career, and I've been doing this a long time, that 100% of all accidents are the result of either the action or inaction of some individual somewhere at some time. The person that's actually experiencing the incident, the injury, and or fatality may not be the one that caused it, but sometime there was an act or a failure to act by an individual or individuals, which created the circumstances for what took place. And I've heard throughout my career, I've had people approach me and say, when somebody gets hurt, it's their own fault. It's the fault of the individual, and I don't accept that. I believe that everything we do, almost every decision we make, especially in the area of safety and following procedure, is driven by the workplace culture. And if the culture allows people to take shortcuts, they're going to take shortcuts. So I think everything's driven by the culture. I also get told often that accidents are just going to happen. We just have to accept that. And I dismiss that as well. Everything that happens out there is caused by a combination of factors that we can identify, and we can correct those. So, I don't believe in just making small improvements. Our goal, again, as it relates to serious injury and fatality, should be zero. And just because we go a period of time, sometimes we go a year without having a lost time injury, or sometimes even recordable. And I think that's kind of a trap. I think that when that happens, that people, companies, and individuals think that we've got everything dialed in, and maybe you have, but unless, only if all the workplace conditions are perfect and behaviors are consistently safe, can you call yourself good, that you've maybe got things dialed in where they need to be. So, as it relates to stop work authority, and it's not only the authority to stop work, and every company out there has a stop work program. It's not that you just have the authority, but you have the responsibility. And most, if not all, conditions and actions that lead to SIF, that are occurring, most, if not all, are visible and can be observed, whether it's changing conditions, whether it's changing the work scope, our work plan, equipment being used improperly, violation of minimum approach distance, people not wearing their PPE, not using proper cover, not utilizing when appropriate personal protective grounding, and just unsafe conditions in general. I think that for the most part, These are things that can be observed, and if they can be observed, then stop work can be used to intervene and make the corrections. And again, in order to achieve this zero SIF or zero serious injury and fatality, we've got to have supervisors. We've got to have our workforce out there that basically, to me, have the courage to step up and use their stop work authority, especially when we're dealing with what OSHA refers to as the fatal four, whether it's electrical falls, caught between, or struck by. Those are the areas that I think we need to focus pretty heavily on, because that's where most of the SIF is occurring. So what are some of the reasons people don't speak up? Well, people don't speak up because they may not perceive the situation that they're observing to be that hazardous and the action unsafe. And a lot of times this is because they have, the crew or themselves have engaged in this activity before, and that happens in our industry a lot. We take shortcuts and get away with it. There's no negative consequence, and so we continue that behavior, and we become complacent, and because of that. The level of the hazard, to me, sometimes we deem that it is below the level where we need to take action. So that could be a problem. Employees think sometimes too that given the situation and the exposure that's associated with that shortcut or that particular hazard doesn't warrant intervention. And again, sometimes just the fact that we're trying to achieve a goal, that we're trying to get a task completed, is more important than of course stopping the work, because we look at that and we think, man, it's just going to take a minimal amount of time. The exposure is very limited, and besides that, the guy that's engaged in it is experienced. So. Given those factors, sometimes we don't stop the work. So other reasons I think that people won't speak up is the employees may not want to alienate the person by calling them out. It sometimes can be maybe embarrassing, but people just don't want to do it. They're a little timid about it. Peer pressure. Not speak up. I know I've had people approach me and say they've tried to intervene in certain situations and they get hammered pretty hard. So, it's just, again, we observe things and we see things done a certain way, and sometimes we just don't think that we need to do it any differently because we have gotten away with it. And again, the person doing it may have much more experience than you, been with the company longer, and because of that, I think that sometimes we get into situations where we're fearful of misrepresenting the situation, and again, being ridiculed, and that's very powerful. So guys, just as we start our week. We start engaging with one another out there. Just remember that if you ever get into that mindset where, man, I just shouldn't be telling people what to do, or you think that I'm sure I know what they're doing. That they know what they're doing, and who am I to tell them to stop? By speaking up, you could be saving someone's life, or at least saving them from a serious injury that's going to affect them and their families. And so it doesn't hurt to step up and say stop. So, and if you're in a situation where somebody says stop, let's think about things. Stop immediately. Let's talk about it. And just try to remember that when someone does that, they're trying to keep you safe. Nobody's trying to punish anybody. Well, we're just trying to keep people safe. So we need to do better. These accidents don't need to happen. And remember that you are the last one to have the hands on it. And you're the last one to think about what got you where you're at. What you're about to do, and how it's going to affect you and your crew. What's the potential outcome of this? And just remember, safety is you. Safety is number one, you. So watch out for yourselves. Keep an eye on your brothers and sisters, and be careful out there. And let's all go home to our families and loved ones at the end of the day. Thanks.